Welcome back and many thanks for staying with the news sources. Now, Funyula MP Paul Otuoma has today said that he will not be the reason behind the disintegration of the ODM party. Otuoma was speaking in Busia Stadium a day after he was summoned to Nairobi, where he met some party officials at an undisclosed location. Which way will Honorable Otuoma go? Let's listen in.
Na unajua wanaona ati sisi ni wajinga. Wanasema ati wewe kubali uchaguzi tarehe 25. Ati kubali uchaguzi tarehe 25 na dirisha ya uchaguzi inafungwa tarehe 26. Sasa kama wewe ulifanya uchaguzi tarehe 13 mpaka sasa hujasema ati huyu ndiye ameshinda na hii mwizi aende jela, 5 days later ile ya siku moja utafanya namna gani? Sio ni ukora? Once bitten, twice shy. Because sisi tulitaka uchaguzi halali. Na chama cha ODM ni mtoto yetu, sisi hatuwezi kutaka. Kama vile Solomoni alisema, ile mama hakukuwa mwenye mtoto, alisema gawa katikati. Ati mimi niende nikae na Ujamo. Kufanya nini? Ati tukae tugawanyishe mtoto. Nyinyi mnakubali? Kama ni kugawanyisha mtoto ni kukaa na watu ya Busia. Hapana mhalifu. Sasa ile watoto wako kwa jela. Na Ojamong ameitwa huko na Road. Jana alikataa kuja mkutano. Leo ameitisha mkutano yake. Na mimi wamenipatia ultimatum.
All right, so he says kugawanyisha mtoto not in the cards. How do you see this playing out, and what are some of the cards actually that Otuoma has to play right now, Betty?
First of all, I just want to comment, drama. That is so much drama. But
yeah.
Anyway, I think that at this point, the ODM, the election board, has to really deliver on what they're saying they will deliver on. They've called for a redoing of the election, and they really must do what they said they would do.
In Teso is what they've specified, right?
Because it's looking like it's become beyond simple elections disputes. It's become a very bitter contest. Also, I also, to an extent, feel that indeed, if somebody has been caught committing electoral offenses, then certain stricter measures should be taken. It shouldn't be just you talk about it or you decide to, like he's saying, divide the child. But basically, something stricter should happen, and maybe that would be a deterrent to other potential offenders. But in totality, I feel that this has become a little so heated that any joking with the exercise that will be reconducted will have a negative effect on the party itself.
Faith, do you think that ODM flawed in how it conducted the nomination?
Of course it did, and I totally agree with Otuoma on this one. At first, he has lost confidence in the elections board, and so even going back to have elections in Teso North and Teso South really doesn't solve the issue that is already at hand. I think I would...
What would solve the issue that is
I think what would solve the issue is for Otuoma to run as an independent candidate. I think he has a period, to submit his papers to IEBC as an independent candidate, because there's a timeline of 10th, and so if he quits ODM before that time, then he has a chance to run as an independent, because surely we cannot be, like he said, be tossing aspirants left, right, center. And remember, these are aspirants who've paid the party money to participate in those primaries and in the elections. And so when the party doesn't demonstrate the confidence that the aspirants and even the voters expect from them, then definitely we will see many of these cases coming up.
Do you think if he ran as an independent, he could play the victim's card?
No. I mean, if he has
some of those victims?
I would rather he runs as an independent. If indeed it is true, and the national election, the party election, NEB, has actually confirmed that there were irregularities. So it is true that there were some issues around the primaries. So for the party elections board to accept that there were irregularities, it is clear that, you know, this guy has a chance of winning. And if he has the supporters, we've seen this before party hopping was, was banned. Aspirants would move to another party, become an independent candidate, and still win because of the ideologies they have.
All right. We're still on Busia. I see we don't have much time, so definitely we're getting back into that discussion on how my people voted in the ODM nominations. So let's just go on to the next one. So the ODM National Elections Board Chairperson Judith Pareno has now said that the Busia gubernatorial repeat nomination will only be held in Teso North and Teso South on April the 25th, which is next week on Tuesday. She said a repeat poll she said that a repeat poll was the best option given the nature of the dispute, and Funyula Member of Parliament Paul Otuoma has vowed he will not take part in the repeat ODM nominations. ODM Deputy Party Leader Wycliffe Oparanya agrees that there were irregularities but says Otuoma should agree to a repeat. However, elders from Busia think otherwise. Let's listen in.
We have given as elders Paul Otuoma, Nyongesa, express permission, if not given that certificate, express permission to lead us to anywhere he will want us to go, so long as his name will appear on the ballot box on 8th of August.
Ujanja wa ODM tunaujua tangu mwanzo. Kama yeye ni mtu wa kusikia, atoke, achukue chama cha independent na watu wote watampatia kura Busia.
All right, so Busia County continues to be a major discussion, and something very interesting, the way we say Kenyans are very political, we vote, are very tribal, we vote along our tribal lines. That's exactly what happened in Busia County. The 5 Luya constituencies voted for Otuoma, the 2 Teso constituencies voted for Ojamong. And most of the fears here are that if we go back to Teso and Teso North and South, then people will have reason to go out in full numbers to vote, because now they've seen, oh my God, our person is in trouble. What do you think, Faith, about we are still insisting on voting in tribal lines, even in counties that have a history of voting for the same person?
Yeah, exactly. And this is not only in Busia. Actually, I've seen this in other regions in this country as well, where voters are divided along tribal lines. And this is entirely the problem of politicians. Also, for Kenyans, I think they need to be, Kenyans need to change their political thinking. Because as long as we are thinking like the politicians, vote for me because you're my tribesman or my tribesperson, then definitely we will keep on, voting the wrong people. We will keep on voting mediocre politicians who are not actually going to bring in anything of, substance. And so, I mean, for Jamong, maybe it was expected. He comes from that region. Yeah. And so his people said, we are going to vote as a bloc. Yeah, so it's very unfortunate. It's happening across the country. I don't know what it takes to just change the minds of, the people, and, for Kenyans to realize that as long as we continue voting along tribal lines, then we will never have the right leaders leading this country.
Do you think what has happened in Busia will cost the opposition Busia County, which is an area well perceived to be an opposition zone?
It's looking that way, I'll be honest, yeah. If you have a situation where Otuoma walks away, like Faith is encouraging, and of course the elders are also encouraging, then you'll see that ODM will definitely lose that particular seat. That's one less seat, that's one less opportunity for ODM to dominate it within the different Senate and governor's level and the different seats. So it's unfortunate. But as Faith has said, we are not going to learn this lesson until something gives, I would have thought that the...
Just finish that
I would have thought that I would have thought that with the greater representation down to MCA and county levels, that we would use the tribal allegiance to vote in favor of the tribe receiving more resources, receiving more attention. But instead, we are ganging up behind people who do not necessarily serve us.
Right.
And that is the saddest part about it.
All right, but we're still sticking with the primaries, and it has been a week of tension and chaos that has led to violence not only in ODM but other parties as well. In Jubilee, Keses parliamentary aspirant Dr. Swarup Mishra is in hospital after he was beaten up by supporters of one of his rivals. ODM nominations in Naivasha were called off after two warring groups clashed, leaving scores injured and voting materials damaged. The latest violent incident occurred Tuesday evening when nominated Member of Parliament Dr. Isaac Maura was caught in an altercation which he claims was an assassination attempt organized by his competitor Simon Kingara. And ladies, we've seen, of course, a wave of this violence taking place in the various areas that this exercise has been going on. Do you feel like the parties are taking enough responsibilities for it and doing enough to ensure that discipline is maintained even as this exercise goes on?
It's very interesting that you have mentioned discipline. So far, in Elizabeth Ongoro's case versus Honorable Kajwang, we've seen the political party fine her heavily, and of course after that she opted to walk away from the political party, which I found that, at the end of the day, you are rejecting discipline, all right? And people's lives are lost in her case. I'm not saying she did it, but in that particular incident. And so now what we expect to see now is, can Jubilee take the similar measures against situations where supporters of two candidates are clashing, like you've just mentioned, or in cases where somebody has been beaten up like this? Dr. Mishra, is it? Dr. Mishra, yes. Yeah. So can we see the political parties enforce disciplinary measures? Can we see them take it seriously enough to even remove somebody from the ballot if someone's life is put at stake? That is what I would like to see from the political parties.
Well, we saw Jubilee speaking very sternly about it yesterday, saying that they are actually planning, well, we will see how that goes, and we hope that it doesn't have to come to that, that, should you be linked to any sorts of violence and whatnot, you would be barred from vying for whatever kind of ticket you're vying for. But I don't know if it's just, what we wait to see.
I think, I mean, of course, Tuju spoke very sternly yesterday about, violence during the primaries. But even before then, the case of Dr. Mishra in cases, I think it still comes down to, political intolerance that we've seen across the political divide. Now, also the tribal alienations that we've seen, people saying that, and I really don't know what happened in cases. There have been, different cases when people saying from this aspirant saying this happened and Dr. Mishra saying this happened. So I don't want to be really categorical, but even then the party should have taken already stand measures on what happened in cases, what happened in Baringo. We saw Professor Sambili yesterday complaining about what you said, clerks and other electoral officials, being sort of supporting their opponents. Right. And so these are things that we want to see the Jubilee Party dealing with them hands-on. We don't want to wait until after the primaries or during the primaries is when we address these issues. We have to see action being taken. And now, I mean, issues to do with rigging, they've come out very strongly, even in the North Rift, in Wasingishu County, for instance. There allegations that there could be, plans to rig the primaries. And so the party should start investigating. And of course, they've assured Kenyans that the elections will be free and fair. So we wait and see. I guess it's a wait and see situation.
All right, Akisa, I guess we're going to take some of your feedback. Just to remind you, on our Twitter poll tonight, we asked you, do you believe that Jubilee Party will conduct free and fair nominations? This is coming Friday, the 21st, and Tuesday next week on the 25th. And I just want to sample a few of your views. Sanai Vincent say they can try, but not to 100% level, that politics is always a tough thing to deal with. Jackson Ndongo says, yes, I believe because they are well prepared, the stakes are too high for it not to be free and fair.
Well, Bahati Kimo says Jubilee Party should show the world that they can do better than ODM because they have been criticizing ODM. And of course, we also have Njoroge Alex Mburu who says no. It will be more chaotic, so of course it's wait and see for that primaries by the Jubilee Party that begin on the 21st, which is on Friday, and the 25th on Tuesday next week. We wrap it up on that note here on News Sources. Many thanks for joining us. Our guest